All right, y'all asked for it. Got a lot of comments on my last compact creations about this thing, which is basically just a monophonic synthesizer I made out of Eurorack modules. Very specific, try to stick to a plan. And yeah, let's head to the desk and check it out. Alright, let's just quickly go through this, what they are, what they do, and I'll get into the sound as quick as I can. Basically, beginning over here on the left hand side, this is the UMIDI by IntelliGel. It's super awesome. It took me a really long time to buy this because it's so expensive, but it solved a lot of my headaches, which is most things like this. So I definitely think it's worth it. I'm going MIDI out of circuit into here, and basically I'm just going to be using circuit over here to send notes out of this to the rest of the synthesizer. The cool thing here is that it has the 16th clock of whatever the tempo is. In this case, our tempo is at 120 on circuit, but I can divide that. So I can have a 16th, and then I can have an 8th, or a 4th, or I think a half, and then like a 1 bar, and then really fast. You can go up to 64ths in 30 seconds and whatnot. So this thing's awesome. I really like it, and it's never left my case no matter what case I'm working with. After that's the Malleco Quad Lfo. I needed a lot of modulation sources that could be basically clocked, so have a little sequencer, or the LFOs can be sequenced to the tempo. But the most important thing about this, which was really hard for me to find on any other module, was an actual like attenuator before the levels went out. I used to have the IntelliGel Quadra. I mean, I still have it, but I don't put it in this case because I would need another module just to turn the levels down of these LFOs. So if LFO 1 is going, I can have it be maxed or just a little bit, and that's perfect. This level thing makes this module worth it. On top of that, if you set it to trigger mode and you set a gate in, that gate input will then have the LFO just trigger once like an envelope. So this solves so many things. I technically almost didn't even need this pip slope by LLM, but I liked having a little bit more control over the attack and the decay as opposed to just an LFO. But the fact that this has that feature, and on top of that it can be clocked and you can record the automation of you moving these things, is insane. The amount of stuff that they packed into this is crazy. This is probably one of my favorite modulation type of Eurorack modules. Alright, if you're new to my channel, you probably don't know this, but if you've seen my channel before, you must know that the Minimalist Modular Alter is probably my favorite voice when it comes to synthesizers. I love this thing. Sounds good, it's digital. This entire Eurorack actually is completely digital, but this is digital. It's a weird wavetable-y type of harmonic percussion synth, but I like to use it more as a bass. And the way I can do this is by turning the decay up. I can have a longer decay and then run it with another envelope to shorten it to however long I actually want it to sound. More into that later. After that, Pip Slope by ALM. I love ALM. Such a cool company. Their ideas are cool. Their design is cool. Everything about the company is cool. Follow them on Instagram. They post cool stuff. Like seriously, I'll have links to all these dudes down in the description below. The Pip Slope, simple attack decay envelope generator. You can loop it also, which is nice, but I just use it as you would expect. And from there we go into the Mum8 or the Mum8. This is really cool. It's an S950 filter. So it has this really cool digital weird sound to the filter, basically the Akai S950 sampler, which was kind of right in line with a lot of the classic samplers like the MPC 60 and the 60 Mark II, the 3000. A lot of those kind of had their own sounds and flavors, and I really like the filter of the S950. It's this old school rack sampler, but this is just the filter section of that, and it's really cool. It does not close all the way as you would expect a filter to, but it sounds really good, and you can actually attenuate it on the back to get this really gnarly sound. After that, we go until the ALM HPO, simple, just trying to keep the signal a little cleaner. Go out of here into here, and you have basically a mono signal split into two. I could have put like a 2 HP verb, but whatever. I didn't want to put any effects on here. I should though, and probably help it out. All right, let's get a patch going. Cool, basic patch. All right, I'm gonna play some sounds on circuit. Make sure we got some signal. Cool, we do. Cool. So this is the filter fully open. All we're hearing, the only type of modulation that's occurring right now is nothing. Nothing's modulating. So we're just listening to the Minimalist. Already, this thing sounds so mean. If you're wondering how I deal with pitch, I basically tune it to the same note on circuit. I'll play the two synths back together and make sure that the note is the exact same on circuit. That way I know that the pitch is basically in tune, like you would guitar strings or something like that. And then I basically don't try to ever touch this again. It will drift once in a while just by touching it naturally, but you get used to it. Cool, so let's find a decent sound here. Just this morph alone sounds absolutely nuts. Alright, so now I'm going to send LFO 1, which is already plugged into the morph, now that I found this kind of little sweet spot right here. And I'm just going to turn up the level. Basically we have fast, which sounds kind of nuts. Whoa, already coming in hot. Does that not sound crazy? And then we can take LFO 4, which is that pulse width, right? And we can say level out pretty high, but we also have an attenuator over here. So you could flip this over to tempo, but that's not really going to matter because we're not going to hear the tempo coming out of circuit anyway. So I'm going to just set it to fast and leave it here. So you have a bunch of different shapes. Basically, the goal behind this was to have a single voice. Think of it as like the Moog grandmother or a subsequent. I know I'm going to get roasted for that because no, it's not digital. No, it doesn't have keys. No, it's not a Moog. No, it's not analog. And there's so much missing, but I just love the modulation capabilities with this Quad LFOs. I got 4 LFOs plus a little, little splitter cable. I got a bunch more downstairs too, but the amount of modulation I have on just this by itself is crazy enough to get a cool voice kind of out of this thing. And what I meant by using this, even though it's a percussion module, but I use it as a bass line, is I can turn the decay all the way up, but this envelope is still closing the VCA in the filter faster than this actually decays. So if I turn this up, it'll stay there for a long time, but I can just hold it down the way I would like. And the cool thing about this is not only does it have a trigger, but it also has a gate. So if I get one of these longer cables like this, I can send the gate out of circuit, and that way I'm not just playing single little bass line hits. I can actually hold this down and then let it go. It's probably kind of hard to see it on circuit, but or if I set the attack up. And check this out. If I turn this modulation negatively, you already start to hear it coming in. That crazy digital sound, I don't know why, but I love it. You hear that? That is insane. So we can change the shape of this as well. You hear that? That is pretty gnarly. Whew. Watch your ears, buddy. So that right there is nuts. Let me put that in. Maybe a little low. See, by default, and if we really want it, we can do trigger. Kind of get that more percussion-y sound. Cool, let me take some of this little modulation out. Maybe set this to slow and set some real weird movement to it. Maybe now if I set it to tempo, we can really start to hear. Like that, right there. That is awesome. Then you start playing with the stuff like harmonics. God damn. And this is the spread of that harmonic. It's almost like a chord mode. Let's add some more. The Minimalist also has noise. Or you can set the attack higher than 12 o'clock and you'll get rid of that noise. So then the other thing that's cool is if I turn this tempo down, I'm going to flip from, right now we're in the skin mode, right? But listen to Liquid. This is insane. It's basically just, if I take out the morph, it's a kick. You take down the harmonics and the spread. God damn. Turn that up. You know, throw in some, let's find it. That we can just do a little 4 on the floor. And again, it's wavetable. Maybe I like that area. I'm going to put the morph back in. Turn the frequency down. It has this weird distort too, which kind of like folds the LFO upon itself. We'll go to slow. You have your shape, and then you have the phase where it begins in its cycle, which is cool. And that works really good when you start doing gate in stuff. So for example, we have this little trigger going. I'll take the trigger and restart the LFO1, and then I'll move its phase point. Now this affects how it's going to change the morph. Ooh. But again, see, this is me getting lost in this. This isn't what I made this for. I could do this, I clearly am, but I made this for bass lines. So if I wanted to take this back to bass, I just flip it over to skin. Maybe go up an octave. Right there, done deal. Like, see, it's just so flexible with the modulation that you have on here. And I haven't even gone to metal yet. Let's flip it over to metal. And then you go up in octaves. This is where it starts to get really freaky. We'll go down an octave on circuit. Maybe make it a little more percussion-y. Slow it down. Ooh, that little movement right there to the filter. Maybe change up the frequency on that. Change the shape up. The phase. Distort. Let's go negative on that filter. Distort. Let's see what this sounds like on Liquid. Down an octave. Down an octave on circuit. Mean. Super mean. So basically, long story short, this is my little mini Euro rack. Yeah, it costs a lot. It's that much, according to Modular Grid at least. I bought a lot of this stuff new, but if you can buy used, especially when it comes to modules, you're basically putting down a security deposit, and when you're ready to sell it, you just sell it and get your security deposit back. But yeah, I mean, this is it. It's my mono synth. I wanted a Grandmother by Moog, and I wanted to buy a Moog. I was thinking about the Siren and everything like this, and yeah, this is way more expensive than a Siren. You can almost buy, what, 2 to almost 3 Sirens for the price of this thing. But I like its modulation capabilities. I like how flexible the voice is, the noise engineering voice. They also have another version of this, which is even crazier, the Manus. So if you want some more gnarly sounds, definitely check that out. I'll link that down in the description below. Yeah, and just, you know, these are all really small, cool companies. I'd say check them out if you're getting into Euro stuff. Start small, but the most important thing is have a clear vision of what you want out of your modular synth, because that's going to save you a ton of money in the end. I went in just buying everything that I thought looked cool and sounded cool, and then I realized I couldn't do anything with it. So what I decided to do was make myself a really flexible, small footprint mono synth that I can take along with me. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate the thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Let me know how I can make these videos better for you to enjoy. Yeah, feel free to subscribe if you like seeing content like this. Again, thank you everybody for making the suggestion that you wanted to see this video, because again, I love this thing. And yeah, I'll catch you all next week. You know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace.